Good morning, everyone. How you going? It's Tuesday morning. I've kind of lost track of time. I had Friday off, and I had a wonderful surprise from Andre, and he flew my best friend up from Melbourne, and she left last night. So I've actually had a 4-day holiday. It's been amazing. So I am a little bit sort of lost track of time and days and all the rest of it. So time to get back to business, people. Guys, when I came to you yesterday, I said that the focus this week would be on energy. And part one, today's video, today's session, is all about, I guess, what I mean when I say energy and how I interpret it. Okay, so there's lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff out there about all sorts of different aspects of energy. So things like, if we go right to the, I'm going to do the, inverted commas, the hippie aspect of energy. You're kind of talking about auras and chakras, and auras actually have several different layers. They are really, it's just energy. It's just energy, because at the end of the day, we are all just energy. And I don't want to go too deeply into that, and, the philosophies and all of that around it, because it can be a little bit difficult for people to comprehend. So what I'm going to do is just go through how I have to explain myself and what I do and how I interpret energy to several different layers of people, I guess. So there's those that already get it. There are those that are already on that path of true understanding of what we are. See, there I go again. Of what we actually are, which is energetic beings in a human form. There are those that already get that. So when I have to explain to them that I read energy and what that means, it's really quite easy, because they already have a concept of what I'm talking about. So to them, I say, you have energy that runs through your body, and I can sense it. I can sense it, I can feel it, I can unblock it, I can move it along, I can read beneath it. And the general response to that is, oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Then we kind of get to 3 other types when I'm trying to explain energy. There are those that have absolutely no idea. So when I start talking, it's complete gibberish to them. And they kind of do these ones. What? And then they walk away, because it's all too much for them to understand. And that's fine. Generally, those people will walk away with this idea and potentially come back and go, right, do you want to tell me a little bit more about that? Once they've processed the idea that they've been exposed to a concept that they've never considered before. And that's great, because I'm so happy to share information. And, when someone does come back and say, so do you want to tell me a little bit more about that? That's when, these other 2 kind of aspects come in. You get the people where you then explain it and they get scared. They think it's magic or voodoo or some sort of weird ass shit that clashes with their own belief system. And again, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Everyone is entitled to their own belief systems. Quite often it will clash with religious beliefs. And again, that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to convince anyone, about anything one way or another, really. Hey, Nicole. But the people that get scared by it, this is the reaction. Like, they'll say, oh, so what is it about? And I can read energy and blah. Oh, what does that mean? Well, you've got this here going on there, and then you've got this here going on there, and that's all coming from up here. And they do these. They quite literally just back right off. And I actually had someone do that to me on the weekend. It was hilarious. I shouldn't say it was hilarious, but it was hilarious. She quite literally took a step backwards. Whether or not she realised that she was doing it, I don't know. But when I pointed out parts in her body that where there were energetic blocks, she backed away. She quite literally took a step backwards. We then spoke afterwards, and I said, was I completely wrong? The way that you reacted, I thought I was completely wrong. She goes, oh, no, you were right, and it's scary. And I went, okay, well, it's not scary, because all it is energy. And all I do, or how I interpret my energy, is that I sense it. And if you want to sort of think about a way that you can interpret that, is a way that I had to explain it to someone else on Saturday night. And that is, the noise that you hear coming out of the radio. Well, that's not what's actually happening through the airwaves. What's coming out the other end is not the noise that's going along the airwaves. You don't actually hear the airwaves, do you? So what I do is actually read the airwaves before it comes out your mouth. And the benefit of that is that, we generally have this safety switch in our brain for protection. We've talked about that in boundaries. We've talked about that all over the place. But what our brain does is it's there to protect us. So if something is going on, we try and justify, or we try and avoid pain, or we try and do whatever it is. That's the brain's job, avoid danger. Well, part of the brain's job. And so the words that come out of your mouth are not necessarily what your body is saying. So same thing with, when you're listening to a radio. The noise that's coming out of a radio is not actually the noise that's going along the airwaves. It goes through the airwaves, and then it gets interpreted, and then it comes out through, whatever device you're using. So the way I see where I sit in that spectrum is that I read the radio waves before they actually come out. Then we have the complete skeptics, and that's fine. That's fine. We have the people that say, oh, that's just bullshit. How can you do that? What's that about? Oh, whatever they say. And I don't actually run across skeptics that much these days. And I'm kind of thankful for that. But then again, I kind of go, well, the skeptics that do come across my path, they're actually ready to learn something a little bit different about how they work and how energy works and how it relates to their life. So the skeptics will quite simply just completely block you, and that's their right, and that's their entitlement, and I don't have a problem with that. I do like to try and enlighten people. Well, not enlighten, that's the wrong word, isn't it? Expose people to a different way of thinking, if and when I have the opportunity. And as much as I enjoy being exposed to new information, maybe that's why I do it. I love hearing about new things. I love hearing new concepts for me to sort of think about and process and see if it fits in my life. So, when the skeptics come along, they'll do one of two things. They'll question me till the cows come home trying to understand it or debunk it, or they'll just walk away and think I'm a bit of a fluke. A bit of a woohoo, one of those. Oh, yeah, what does she do? Whoa. And that's fine. So when I talk about energy, I'm talking about, let's try and refer to a little bit of science here, although it's not science. That, we have the meridians that run through our body, which, they can't be photographed, they can't be, you can't cut someone open and see their meridians, but they generally run along the nerve pathways. So when something happens along the nerve pathway, there is an electrical impulse that happens. And I tune into that. So when I talk about tuning in, I now interpret there are 3 different levels of that. And the first level of that is just the sensing when someone is sort of standing across from me. And again, this is always only with permission. You know, the sensing aspect of it is doing a quick scan of the person's body and identifying where blocks might be occurring. Again, hi! Again, just reading the radio waves, right? So being in tune with those radio waves. And I identify that as the sensing aspect of it. The next step up from that is actually tapping into that. And that involves sometimes hands-on work if I'm with the person. But, more often than not, it happens anytime. And being able to tap into that means that I can, hi Sarah, means that I can go in but not actually fully immerse myself in it. So I can go in and sort of tap in, this is happening here, it's being caused by this, it's being caused by that. That's what I refer to as tapping in. And then there is the next level, which is quite intense, and I don't do all that often anymore because I noticed that it was actually taking quite a toll on my body. And that last level is actually going in. Again, only ever with the express permission of the person that I'm working with. And that actually involves stepping into the person's energy. And I guess if you want to liken it to something, it's like me stepping into the person's skin and seeing what they are feeling, and then quite literally regurgitating that back. Now that aspect spins people out until you realize we are all just energy. We are all part of life energy. We are all part of earth energy. And, when we talk about boundaries, there's another aspect of boundaries where your boundaries are an energetic field around you. It is your understanding of what's acceptable in your life and what's not. If you are quite strong with those beliefs, then generally things that don't agree with your beliefs won't come into your space. If things do come into your space, then you need to strengthen your boundaries, your energetic boundaries, your thought boundaries. So now I'm getting into the part where it kind of makes people a bit squirmy and a bit cringy, and I don't really want to go there with you guys because it's actually quite a personal experience when you're going through it. And again, I'm kind of stuck on this thing of trying to explain something in generic terms when I'm so used to dealing with people one-on-one and getting to the root issue that they experience. So when I'm explaining energy to a client that I'm working with, it's simple as, because I just go, okay, so this is happening with you, and here's what's happening. This is what I'm doing. Again, trying to break it down to generic terms, it all becomes quite airy-fairy. It becomes a little bit, hippie. And it becomes all woo-woo, which are all, to me, quite derogatory terms. Considering how immersed I am in my modality now. So I don't really want to go into too much more about how I interpret energy. What I will say, though, is that every single person walking the planet has this ability. And, I'm not a novice at this, but I'm certainly not, way up in the hierarchy of people that do this sort of work. But everyone has the ability to do this, and a really, 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 thank you, Sarah. A really, really big part of it is letting go of your preconceived ideas of what your life is supposed to be about and what life in general is supposed to be about. And that's a process that I've undergone, quite extensively for quite a few years. And once you let go of all of that, you just start going, everything just makes so much more sense. Nothing's an accident, nothing's a coincidence, and that's fine, The danger is that if people start to spin on that idea, they can get caught up in it. But that's where you go to people who understand what you're doing and can help you through the process. Again, I'm going to refer to me because I'm talking to you. I don't know how many times, and you guys have probably experienced this yourselves, where you kind of go, oh, and then I made this decision, and then bang, 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 all these things started happening. Yeah. And? Because to me, that's a no-brainer. You make a decision about what you want. Thanks, Sarah. You make a decision about what you want. And again, all of the energetic forces in the universe go, whew, chick's made a decision. Let's make this happen. She knows what she wants. She knows the direction she wants to go in. Let's help this process along. Now, I deal with people all the time who have these experiences. And, at first it's kind of mind-blowing, but when you hear about it, you go, well, yeah, of course, that makes complete sense. Energetic alignment. What do you want? Start moving towards what you want. Make a decision about what you want. Everything else falls into place. Again, it's a no-brainer for me. So, that's my take on energy and how I work with it. There is a lot more. But again, guys, I don't want to go too far into it because, I've had the experience before where people think I'm a bit of a freak. And I'm coming to terms with that. I actually don't run into those people that much anymore because they don't hold an energetic space in my life. What I welcome into my life is people who have at least a basic understanding of what energy is and how it works, and have an appreciation and a respect for what they can do for their own lives by applying those understandings of how energy works. So I have to be honest, I'm not terribly interested in trying to convince people about how brilliant it is, because that's not my job. It's not my job to convince people, that this work is worthwhile. That's their decision. It's a great decision to make, but that's their decision. So, hi, Eva. Thank you, Sarah. So guys, that's when I'm talking energy, that's my take on it, there is the sensing, and then there is the tapping in, and then there is the going in. And all of those things work towards clearing energetic blocks in your life so that they no longer impact your life moving forward. As I have said before, the mindset work is absolutely amazing. But quite often, if you don't clear what started off the issue that you're experiencing, you can only get so far. And I've seen it time and again. I've honestly, hand on heart, time and again, when I'm working with someone and clearing those blocks from the past, those repetitive behaviours that they seemingly have no control over, and we remove the original source of that, and they just are blown away by how different they feel. So, I am an intuitive healer. I am an empowerment coach, and I work with energy. So, that's me. And that's what I have to offer you. And that's how I'm going to come to you this week, from that perspective. Because if I even, yes. So tomorrow, so that was today, telling you my take on energy and how I interpret it and how it really is. It's not just a part of my life. It is my life. It is who I am. And so tomorrow, I will talk about how energy impacts you and what issues you could potentially experience from energetic blocks. Wow, I could go on for hours about that. I won't. I will touch on things. But yeah, so that's tomorrow, how energy impacts you in your life and your body, and how energetic blocks actually stop you from moving forward. Then on Thursday, which is the last day of the short week, woohoo! Thanks, Nicole. On Thursday, we will talk more about what happens once you shift those energetic blocks. So, have a fabulous Tuesday. I will see you all again tomorrow. In the meantime, have a wonderfully energetic day. Focus your energy on all good things, and all good things will come to you. Yes, it's that easy. Mwah! So much love to all of you. And I will see you tomorrow. And thank you for all the comments, guys, and all the love hearts. Oh, it makes me so happy. All right, have a great day. Gonna have to go and finish my breakfast now. Bye.